How has your training evolved over the years on all of these fronts? Like, you start running, you're doing the CrossFit thing, you're just going on a run for like kind of your mental health to plan out what life is going to look like and what your athletic career is going to look like. How has that evolved, and what are some of the really useful things that you've learned along the way that you always find yourself coming back to?
I think it was really like getting into distance running and just like doing things that you don't know if you can do it. Like, it's less about what time I get running the 800, and it's more like personal transformation. Like, after I do this huge ultra race, how am I going to feel? Like, everything is elevated. So in Atlanta, I had a friend who invited this guy. He's like, he's going to come to our workout. I was like, cool. So it ends up being this guy named Jesse Itzler. And we do this like hill event at his house. And I was like, these people are crazy. But I was like, this is so cool. And I had never like thought about doing an ultra or anything like that. And the first year we did it, David Goggins was there. And I was like, this guy is like from another planet. So I think it was more so like who influenced me. And then I was like, oh, I can do really hard things because you never look at anything the same.
That's interesting, because I still look at people who do ultras. I'm like, y'all are nuts.
It's nuts.
Why would you run that far? Why? Like, at what point did you get over that and embrace that? Like, this is something that not only I can do, but that I want to do.
I think it was when I was like, the work ethic I have in these workouts, whether it's lifting heavy, running far, that work ethic translates to everything else I do. So I find that like the weeks that I'm really active or I'm in a training cycle, my whole work is like way more productive. Like, my mind is thinking like more clearly. So I think that's what keeps me accountable, and it becomes less about a sport and more about like medicine.
What's your favorite race you've ever done?
Oh God. Hell on the Hill is pretty good. It's so fun.
I'm not actually familiar with that one. So what is that one?
So that's Jesse's charity. So every person gets $1,000. You get to like stand up, say what charity you're giving it to, but it's 100 hill repeats, and it's absolutely like at the top of the hill, you could just put your hands down, but it's just, it's really fun because like, who does that? So you meet all these like crazy people who, not crazy, but 90% of them are entrepreneurs. Everyone's just there to just like expand mind and body. So I think that whole experience led me to do my first ultra, which was also like running in the woods in Maine at 2 a.m. Like, who can say that they've ever done that? It was just like a moment where I was like, oh my God, you feel life totally different. So I think those two are probably my favorite.
I cannot say that I've run in the woods in Maine at 2 a.m.
I know. A lot of people
like,
can't.
Yeah, I see you. You don't look like the type of guy who hills or the woods in Maine at 2 in the morning. How do you try to describe that feeling? Because I imagine it's part exhilaration, but probably also part terror. Like, as you're running through the woods in Maine at 2 in the morning, is there like an element of fear where you're like, what am I doing? Like,
yeah.
Does that ever hit you?
Oh, there's moments throughout it where, like, I cried, I was angry, like, you get happy, you start thinking about, like, whatever, listening to live concerts. You just, like, totally go through all these phases where you're like, oh, man. But you also wonder when your body's going to quit, which is why preparation, even for ultras, I was in the gym lifting 2-3 times a week, because that's the scary thing. When you get to, like, mile 60, is my knee going to hold up? And I mean, I tore my meniscus in, February last year, and immediately opted out of surgery and was like, I'm going to fix this with strength training. So I think the scariest thing is, like, just making sure you're prepared, which is why, like, training plans and programming is so important for people that are doing, like, really taxing things.